Good morning and happy Wednesday to all of you here on the She-Commerce Show. We missed our last one. I forgot why. I think I was at the doctor office, but we're flexible around here. And today, me and Nicole freshened up real quick. I'm still a hot mess. We had a meeting like at 6 a.m. my time this morning, and then I went right from that meeting into working. So that's one of those things. You got to get over yourself and go live on YouTube, even though you look like you rolled out of bed.
Oh, you look fabulous, Tina. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Well, for you, it's afternoon. For me, it's still before noon. So
it is. I'm putting chapstick on right now.
That's okay. I am drinking out of a toilet mug because that's just how I feel.
That's what being a reseller has resorted you to.
To drinking out of toilet mugs. You know, some days you just got to drink out of a toilet mug.
Yeah. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Heather.
Good morning, girls. So today is going to be a really fun show, a really fun story. Something that I've been a part of on the sidelines, enjoying all of the things about it. Yes, Jennifer, this is about reselling and drinking out of toilet mugs.
Yeah, welcome in. We do Amazon, Walmart, eBay, whatnot. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. I've been reselling since 2010. And Tina, how long have you been reselling?
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, I'm drinking my toilet. The same. I've been selling longer than 2010 because I was doing eBay. But I have been selling like eBay and Amazon since 2014 is when I started with Amazon. And then this last year, Walmart. And I have always done a little bit of mixture of some Poshmark and Mercari. Especially when I used to buy big clothing lots. I used to love selling those. So some of my eBay stuff I cross list on Posh and Mercari.
Okay, nice. And Jennifer,
you're in the right place. We do all the things.
Yeah, I've never sold on Poshmark and Mercari, but I've sourced there. So, thanks for coming to our show. We are live every other Wednesday. We're the She-Commerce Show. And then on the opposite Wednesday, we have Tina hosts Walmart Wednesday. So that's a good place to get questions if you're ever interested in, or answers to questions if you're ever interested in selling on Walmart or, whatever. That's also a group of resellers. So, all right. Where do you want to get started at, Tina?
Well, I want to dive right into the fun story because that's what everybody's always here for. So we have, for yourself, Jennifer, who are new here, we have a little mastermind group of besties. And Nicole is our queen bee of awesomeness. And she had a really fun, adventurous week with some of the girls that are in our group. And so she's going to share the story and how far would you travel? How far and how adventurous would you get to make your fortune, if you will, on eBay is kind of the topic of today's show. Not a lot of people are as adventurous as Nicole, and it's fun to live vicariously through her determination.
Yeah, so I guess to jump into it, I, in the last few years, have just kind of found what my passion is. I have boys, and so we sold a lot of boy items and toys and everyday items. And in the last, I would say 3 years, I've really realized that I love girl stuff and stuff from when I was a kid. And so I started going to events, that incorporated that, so on the weekends, going to toy shows and things like that, and just meeting people and talking to people and, reached out to you, Tina, in regards to, being an Amazon seller. And I've kind of just created a community of people with similar interests and that I think would be great to have in my corner. And now I talk to people from all over the country that I just love. And so last weekend, or the weekend before this past weekend, a friend reached out, a friend that I had met through Whatnot, and he said, hey, there's this collection. I was talking to this guy about buying a couple pieces, but he has a lot more. And I thought of you and I thought you would be interested. And I said, send me some pics. And so we did. And it was just love at first sight, right? And don't tell my husband. And so I hit him back and I said, I'm definitely interested. And he said, okay, here's the guy's number. And the guy was very serious. He said, he called me right away and he said, I have a warehouse and I run a very successful business. And I have this collection in my warehouse that I moved here and it's just in my way. And I said, great, what do you want for it? And he gives me a price, an offer I can't refuse. And basically the value is that I see it as an asset and it is, clogging up his business. And I said, all right, let me figure out the logistics and I will try to make this happen. So
now, can I pause you right here for those watching? Yeah. Nicole lives in Ohio. This deal was in Florida. So and the man's warehouse is one business, and all of this stuff that he had in stock is a totally different product. It's all the girl toys, and his business is a completely different business, and these toys had been his mother's and they were taking up a lot of space, and so it was an offer that Nicole could not refuse.
Yeah. So I call you guys, I think it's really important and something I had another reseller friend prior to you guys and we're still friends. And, I really, value that friendship. And then I kind of found you guys and then we created a little bit larger group and there's, like 6 or 7 of us now. And so I call you guys. I'm like, logistically, how could I you're going to find out, Jennifer, why he couldn't ship it.
As the story goes on, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So I call you guys. We all get on this video chat Saturday night, some of us are drinking wine and the rest of us are, hanging out. And I said, logistically, how do I get 4 storage units full, 4 trips in a 15-foot box truck delivered to Ohio? And so we went through all the options. We went through uship.com and Penske and, all these different things. And right away, our one friend, Casey, is like, let's go down there and we'll rent a house and we'll sell it all on Whatnot and then we'll fly back. And my husband, after looking at more of the collection, he said, y'all going to move down there for 6 months. If you do that, it's going to take you forever. And so the next day I get a hold of Casey and I figure she's, sober at this point. She's only had like 1 glass of wine, but it was so funny.
I think she had 2 or 3 and she was fantastic.
Yeah. So, and she's like, yeah, let's do this deal. And so we booked our flights and we rented trucks. And when I did the math, because it's hard to estimate when you're not physically there to see it, but I estimated 2 26-foot box trucks is what we would need to get the collection if it was 4 storage unit full at 15-foot, 4 trips in the 15-foot. Later, much closer to picking up the collection, I found out there was also a piano and a pool table in that. So I overestimated, but those were important facts I didn't have. So let's see. So I was dying to go. I could not wait to get down there. And so Thursday comes and I fly down. Now, I've never met Casey in person. We've talked and everything. And so we meet at the airport. We find each other. We rent an Uber and we Uber to the Penske. And we get these giant diesel trucks. Like, they're massive. We've never drove anything like it. Casey's this tiny, girl.
Yeah, Casey's like 5'1" and she's agreeing to drive this truck.
Yeah. So I get a picture of her in the truck and, and we head off to this warehouse and I'm all, nerves. I'm like, what if it's not what I think it is? And so we get to the warehouse and it is exactly what I think it is. And so much more. And I had hired movers too. So when you book a U-Haul is who we were originally going to go through, but they couldn't get us trucks. I was able to book two guys for 4 hours for like $260 or something like that. It was like 65 an hour, whatever that, doing public math over here. But they were ready to work. They were fabulous. They didn't want us in their way. So we just got to dig through boxes and totes and tubs. And it was incredible. It just, I couldn't believe it. So
I'm going to share this screenshot of the photo of Casey in this big, big truck. So
yes.
you can imagine, he's giving her a driving lesson. You could imagine, Jennifer, how much that would have cost to have had shipped. So
yeah, it was fabulous.
Here our little mastermind group. Now I've met Casey in person and our friend Heather. Nicole and I have only talked through video because we all live in different states. But it's just the power of friendships within the reseller community. With today, we can all meet by video call. So you already feel that you know one another. So then to get to meet up in person and do a road trip like this for a deal that was just out of this world is just so fun and such an awesome testimony to the power of friendships that we can make through social media.
Yeah. So I kept the guy who clued me in on the lie. I kept him, in touch with him, and I said, I'm going to pull all the things you're interested in from this collection. You get first dibs on all of it. And I have a couple box ready for him, and I found some more last night, and he's really happy with what he's getting, and I'm really happy that he gave me the opportunity. So the interest, so we estimated 2 26-foot trucks. It ended up only being one full. So we were able to take the other one back and get most of the credit back for that. So that was nice. And then we started our 17-hour drive together. And I thought, here we are in this vehicle for 17 hours. We've never hung out before, really. And we talked so much that like my lips were chapped. And I never talked to people that much, being a reseller at home, just, my husband and I pretty much talked about everything we ever care about, so it was fabulous though. We rented a hotel. That went great. We had breakfast. We're in the truck again. We're calling you guys. We get it home at 3 a.m. on a Saturday morning. So from Thursday morning at 4 a.m. to Saturday morning at 3 a.m. was how long it took to get this collection, from there to here. And then we have, so back to networking. I had asked a couple guys at our local auction that we really love, and they showed up and they helped us unload the truck. And they're so supportive, like these, they're silly, but they're just really great guys. And one sells typically at flea markets, and the other one kind of the same idea. And, they were like, this is an incredible buy. Like, you did such a good job. Like, we're really proud of you. Like, and I love that support, because sometimes you don't even get that from like your own family. Right. And
from other friends that you've made online that are collectors and and sellers of the very same things. And most resellers, I feel like they treat that as a threat, right? Because it's like you're dealing with a couple other people who also want to buy this stuff for the intention of reselling it or collecting it. And a lot of people close the door on that opportunity. And they say, well, I don't know if I want to share that with you because I'm now going to lose out on my honey hole or on my, whatever it may be. They may have not had the means or the money or the time to have been able to take the flight and rent the truck and put in the hard work to get that inventory. And they will gladly take what you're willing to offer. You don't want to have all of this and keep all of this. And so I think a lot of people need to say yes more than to close that door, being afraid that you're going to create your competition.
Yeah. It's a fine line to walk. Like, there's, you want to keep some of your privacy and things like that. And, and then there's the other part of you that's like, this is great, like, or come, you can do this too, or come do this, this thing. And so it's a weird back and forth mental, gymnastic that you do. But, yeah, so we unloaded it all, and then our other friend, drove in from St. Louis. She sourced along the way, very a totally reseller thing to do, very cool, and got to my house, and we dug through some stuff, and I'm putting this collection exclusively on Whatnot. So at this point, right, like I can always change my mind because I'm in charge, but I yeah, we went live to drum up excitement for the show that was going to happen the next day. And I think when we started the show, we had like 35 to 40 people who had saved it. And by the time we got off of that show, we were up to about 90 saves. And so there was a lot of excitement about it.
Yeah.
And then the next morning I got up and I posted all over the place to relevant groups, this is what's coming. And that seemed to really work. And so then we went live on Whatnot on Sunday, and we were on for 7 hours, did 501 items, and recouped, a good chunk of our investment. So it was a lot of fun.
And what's cool about that is now you have 2 reseller friends at your house, and you're teaching them a new skill, how to do Whatnot. You kind of got some free help out of the deal for a show. Plus, you got to really nurture those new friendships, reseller friendships, right? Like that's really fun. And you already have a community of people who buy within your niche. And that's another thing too, is that if you are a niche seller, whatever that may be, maybe it's Hot Wheels, right? And, usually if you are, say, a Hot Wheels seller, you're going to be in the Hot Wheels Facebook groups and you're interested in that. You can then post, you have an audience right there, like, hey, I got this collection of Hot Wheels. I'm going to go live. I'm going to do this big Hot Wheel lot. You already have an audience for the thing. So, keep that in mind too, if you're a niche seller out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. The people I've met in, my similar interests and stuff, I didn't know it was a whole thing. And they're some of my favorite people. I talk to them every day. We have great conversations. If they're looking for something, and I have it, great. We'll make a deal on it. And I love the opportunity and the friends that I've made. I was looking at concert tickets before we went live. There's a show I want to go to in Nashville, and I'm like, I know someone who lives in Nashville now. I've been to their house. Like,
yeah,
it's very cool.
And especially if you're into that too. But I really, really love the idea of having a niche type of selling. So if you sell on eBay and your niche is really clothing, you're a clothing seller, you can expand that to Whatnot shows. If you are a niche seller, like the Hot Wheel example, you can do that not only on eBay, but Whatnot shows. And what would you say the benefit is of Whatnot in comparison to eBay?
Whatnot gives me it's more of a personal social experience, and I appreciate that. Like I like that aspect of it. I love going live and talking with people and them being excited about what I find. And you can't get that on eBay. You're selling the goods, and that's fun. There's but I think in the last few years, I've really valued doing what I love, and it's a hobby but a business at the same time kind of thing. It's my interest, but I get to make money doing it. So the things that you sell every day, on some of the other platforms, you may or may not love that product, but there is definitely value in selling what you love.
And all of us are done with our listings at some point. Whatever platform you sell on, or if you sell on all the platforms like we do, at some point you are done with the shipment. You're done with your listings. And there's like a window of time. We all have these windows of time in our life. And if you're using that window of time to do a Whatnot show, if you did it for an hour, or if you do it for a whole day marathon, depending on how much stuff you have, that part-time hobby of something you love that is within selling can still produce a big chunk of change at the end of the year. And this morning when we were talking about that, as we track our finances in our business, as we track what we make on, Amazon, eBay, whatnot, Walmart, all of the platforms, we were talking about how one of them is always like our nest egg, right? Like this is the one that is our priority. We make the most money here. We have to do that, right? Then we have our other platforms that we have because one, we can, and you never know what platform might fall off, right? I've been a living example of that when I lost Amazon, right? I mean, these kind of things happen. I mean, people lose their Walmart, they lose their eBay. I mean, this stuff happens. Having these other platforms to fall back on can be really, really beneficial. And so you had brought up, because the one platform was like maybe the least profitable. And you're like, oh, but that's only a couple $1,000s. For a lot of people, that couple $1,000s is exactly all they want, right? Mm-hmm. And then I had mentioned to you that let's say your profit on, let's say Whatnot was $1,000 a month. And that's not what you live off of. You can't live off of that. And when you compare it to your other platform, that is your bread maker, sometimes I think as resellers, we tend to dismiss that amount. And I said, but look, if it was $1,000 profit every month at the end of the year, that is $12,000 to the bottom line. That's nothing to brush off. And we talked about, if that is like your side money, use it for whatever. If that's your fun money, if that's your money you're going to put away for retirement, maybe your goal is to pay off a car. It can definitely be worth it. For people who don't do this full time, because there's a lot of people out there. You and I started in that place for our own selves where this was just the thing we did on the side after our regular job, whether it's because we wanted extra money or we wanted just an outlet to do something we thought was fun because we liked treasure hunting in the thrift stores, but you can't keep it all. So you treasure hunt for yourself, but then you think, oh, this is worth value. I know I can sell this. A lot of people on the side, when I started doing this as a side, like hobby making money, it was enough to pay my car payment every month. And I was thrilled with that because I lived off my job income and my side hustle for funsies was paying my car payment. For me, that was huge, to have a car payment for something that I did in my spare time on my days off. And it did not suck up my entire days off. I still had the rest of the time to grocery shop, clean the house, do the lot, things that you do on your day off. And I was still making enough money in that spare time to do that. So sometimes I forget that some people who watch us on these shows, this isn't their full-time gig. We've been doing it full-time so long that sometimes we forget that, everybody who watches us, they also all do it full-time too. Right. So sometimes I think, for me, I got to remember to dial that back, because back when this wasn't my full time and I would watch people on YouTube that were doing it full time, I would think to myself, well, I can't do what they're doing. I mean, this is their full time job. So, I would think making that kind of money wasn't possible for me. Well, then I kept doing it. And then I just got a little deeper into it as I was learning. And at one time, I was making just as much online selling as I was at my job. They were equals. And I think that was a light bulb shift moment for me when I thought, I'm doing this side hustle 2 days a week on my days off and not even all day. And a little bit either before or after work, on if I had to make listings real quick. Yeah. And I'm making as much as I am being here 40 hours. Yeah. I was like, wait. and that's when I thought, you know what? If I try a little harder, I bet I could quit my job. Yeah. But that took me several years to get to that point.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a plan when you're making a big decision like that too. Yeah. It also took me years. Long before I did, my husband was like, you should quit and just work with me full time. And I ran the numbers and I was working hard, and I could not get the math to make sense with just eBay, no matter what I did. And when I got suspended on eBay in 2013, and maybe it was 2014, it was somewhere around there, and we started trying Amazon, that was the moment that I saw the opportunity. I didn't see it before. Now that I have different experiences, maybe, without Amazon. But that was definitely, I needed to have, a whole line of experiences before I could make that decision.
Yeah.
So, but I know someone, the first person I know to go full-time on Amazon, he just decided to do it and then just did the thing. And, just different personality, and that's fine too,
Yeah. For
I
me,
admired it.
what I was scared about was I knew I was losing my medical insurance and I was going to have to buy it, on the public system. And that was really, really hard for me to come to terms with that, of giving that up. I can tell you on the other side, the medical insurance and all that is not as great. It isn't, but
Right.
I've been able to go to doctors and do just fine. I love, and we talked about this earlier this morning too, is I love my freedom. I'm someone who's always hated feeling like a caged in person. And I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Now, of course, that can't always be true, right? Because, my current obligation is, I babysit my grandbaby 3 half days a week. So during that time, I can't say what I would want to do, but watching him is what I wanted to do, right? I didn't want the infant going into, a daycare or a nursery. I wanted him to be with family. So that is my choice. So in a sense, I am doing what I want to do. But
it's a change though, for sure. And it's so funny you bring that up because for years and years, I told my oldest, I was like, don't have kids till you're like 30. Like, it's just, just like instill. I was like, I'm not ready to I'm like at the age where I could be a grandma now, which blows my mind. And I'm like, no, not right now.
I started young too. So and I think you were younger than me or about the same as me with your first, but I had mine at 20 and my son is 32. So, I am glad that he waited until his 30s, but man, oh man, it's been a lot of years since I had an infant. So, now I know what people say that, having kids is meant for the young because it's like, I'm tired. And I now truly, truly appreciate all the reseller moms out there that are doing this with the bitty ones. Like when your kids are in elementary school, junior high, they're a lot more self-sufficient. But like those little ones that are 5 and under that really are more demanding with attention. And there's a lot of reseller moms doing this. And making good money with the little ones. I mean, hats off to you because that is amazing.
Yeah, it really is quite the feat. So I have one other story. It's not my favorite. But I think I'm going to tell it on here because I think it's important. And can you change the title or so after? I
sure can.
Okay.
And Reno says,
I actually don't know.
That's true too, Reno. That is true too. There are lots of dads and grandpas out there doing it too.
I don't know that I want you to. I actually, you know what? Let's talk about it after and you let me know if it's something we should share on here. How's that? It's in regards to my account being messed up though, my one account. So but I do have a crazy story for that. So but I think I'll
do that on our next live then.
Okay,
so
yes.
I will ask you because people like me maybe would be, well, not maybe, am afraid. Like I would be afraid to do what you did. But it's like, I want to be the person that's like, yeah, I would do that. Yeah. I knew the deal was amazing. So actually for what you paid for that, even I would have done that. Even I would have had the common sense to know, you know what, this is worth getting on a plane, driving the truck and doing this. Nobody wants to do that long road trip because that's not fun. So like parts of a deal like that aren't fun. Driving that long road trip, I'm sure there were fun moments, but that got long. I'm sure it got long. And you were
It did get long.
Yeah. And it's a lot of physical labor then unloading a truck like that. But just knowing how much you could make off the low buy cost you got for it, the investment in it, it's going to be so worth it now that you're back, now that it's unloaded, it's over with, right? And so you're talking 48 hours of inconvenience in your life. So for me, I would be afraid of what if I get there and I got scammed? What if I, all the what if I's, what if, sometimes that can paralyze a person. So do you have a nugget of wisdom or encouragement to people out there that might be somebody that thinks like me?
So, well, one, I was very well protected because I had Casey, and she's really tough looking and strong. So if anyone was going to mess with me, they were going to have to mess with Casey.
All of 5'1". And how tall are you?
Like 5'11".
And she's like, thank God she's got her pit bull.
Yeah, yes. So I mean, if I'm ever going somewhere, questionable, Casey's definitely come with me. Yeah, I will tell you. So the hesitation to do something like that. So this may or may not be a funny story, but a few days prior to picking up this collection, about 2 days prior, I started having chest pain when I exhaled. Now I suffer from like
anxiety,
really bad anxiety. So I'm messaging with my doctor, and she's like, maybe you should come in. And as soon as I picked up that collection, it was gone. So it, and I always say, I'm like my own worst enemy. Like I created that environment. Like I don't have to live this life, right? And
but what was the chest pain about? What was it that you were afraid of? Were you afraid of, am I doing the right thing? Am I going to get there? It's going to be junk. Like, what was causing the anxiety?
I was so nervous that he was going to change his mind. Mm-hmm.
After you bought a ticket, after you paid for the truck, and then he's gonna be like, nah, I don't want to.
Yeah. And I could eat that cost. Like that wasn't, but I just wanted I wanted this collection so badly. I knew I had the people who would love and appreciate it. I love digging through treasure. It's my favorite part of being a reseller. I like Tuesday came, right? And we had the conversation on Saturday. We agreed to the deal on Saturday. And I was like, I wish I could just fly down there right now and just lock this in. Like, that's what it was.
You were afraid it was going to disappear and somebody else was going to come in and swoop it.
Yeah, I was yep, absolutely. It was literally the best deal I've ever closed in my life. Thank you, to, somebody who thought of me when they saw the collection. And, we're driving back and I'm talking to Casey and we're, talking about, what the potential is and stuff. And I'm like, I have a kid in college and, we have a goal of paying off this house and everything. And I was so grateful to just have the opportunity to bring that. But here's the other thing I'll say too. So it doesn't come just by chance. So 2 weeks prior to that, I'm watching Whatnot and I see the show is coming, and it's these two people and they two sellers, and they split this storage unit that they bought. And it's an entire storage unit full of stuff that I would want to buy. And I'm watching the show go down, and there's a ton of people in there, and they're bidding on this stuff. So it's fun, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. And the whole time I'm like, I want that. And I will say that I think that often when I make that decision, when I'm like, I want that, I then spend the time looking for that thing to death. It never ends, right?
Stayed on it.
I do.
Yeah.
And so, every night I'm looking for something, and I'm talking to my, my reseller friends, and I'm, looking. And a week after that show, I did find a collection. I drove down to Alabama and got it. I come home. Now my trailer's full of that collection. Great deal. And then this lead becomes available. I didn't find this lead. Somebody, found it and told me about it. And then, so, within less than 2 weeks, I'm, flying to Tampa to get one. And I'm like, I could do this forever. I love this. This is, and so I think so often when I see somebody doing something that I want to do, I think to myself, oh, well, I can do that, right? Like they're everyday people just like me.
Yeah.
And that's often like the thing. I don't know what to call it.
Because I feel like a lot of people on YouTube make it sound like, oh, just do this. And the reality is a lot of them have those same anxieties and fears. And what if it doesn't work out? And a lot of us can get paralyzed with the what ifs. And I don't think enough people tell the truth about that.
Right.
Even paralyzed at the smallest level, like you're at a Goodwill and you pick up a shirt and you see it sells for X amount on there, but it's higher price than you would have paid at the Goodwill. It's $12.99 when really you only want to pay $5. And so then you overanalyze and you get paralyzed on it. Sometimes even on a single item buy, right?
Yeah.
Like we all have done that. We start to, it's like your gut instinct initially is like, okay, this is good. I'm going to get it at, and then you jump into the analyzing it. And then you start doubting yourself. And then 50-50 chance you walk out of there not getting it. Right. And this is what happens with resellers. I think on the daily, it could be sourcing for Amazon. You're looking online at something and right away you're excited. And then you start finding fault with things. Right. And I think for a lot of resellers, me included, that this is probably the biggest hurdle for a lot of us is that over analysis. And it's like, why? Is it because of history of bad buys? Is it because we're afraid of succeeding? I mean, what is it that causes us to do that? And I just would like to say that so people who are watching know that you're not the only one that goes through that too.
Yeah. So I, have gotten hung up with when we think of like Amazon or Walmart and everything. And I often will find a process to decide whether I'm going to buy something or not. When I really want something or am looking for something or, reality is you're not going to be like first to every garage sale or something or first in line at an estate sale or something. But like, I really feel like where there's a will, there's a way. I'm going to walk in there. I'm going to find the thing, right? Whatever it is. And just a mindset. Mindset is so important. And just, I feel that I just am determined to like make the thing I want happen. Like I just
felt like that last night when we went to the Goodwill. So I do relate to that because this is also another fear that comes to my mind. We go to the Goodwill in the evening, right? We're there at 6 p.m. So my mind says it's been open all day. All the good stuff is gone. All the resellers have already been in here and we're going at the end of the day. I mean, we might be lucky. Maybe they put out like some new stuff from this month, right? That thought, right? That negativity starts. And last night I told myself, you know what? They're not all looking at the same stuff and they don't know all the same stuff that I know. And I just went in there with the right attitude and I walked out with some great buys. And I showed you one of them
I loved it
this morning. So I found, for those of you that know Vera Bradley purses and bags, they look like quilted fabric, can be quite expensive. And I found a Vera Bradley Harry Potter purse and brand new with tags on eBay. There's in the solds, it's like $200. And I bought it for, what was it, price tag? $5.99, $4.99, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I love selling hot rollers for hair. They don't do as well as they used to in years past, but they still can do well. It's interesting because there were 3 sets of hot rollers on the shelf and I looked all 3 up. The 2 newer ones went for okay money, but not enough profit margin for me to be satisfied because I like those bigger margins, right?
Yeah.
But I found a set of hot rollers on the shelf. They were marked the least amount because they were old. They were vintage. And they were the ones that went for the most on eBay. They sell for $54. I'd have to go grab it because I can't remember what the name of them were. I think I saved it to the drafts. I can share that. And then everything is with keywords. So on this particular listing, the keyword that is used for hot rollers that helps them sell is the word pageant. So, and I got these hot rollers. So just between and I bought a bunch of coffee mugs that are decent profit, but nothing to be excited about. So, and my total bill at the Goodwill for the things that I got was $15. And I got, it was 4 coffee mugs I think I had. maybe five coffee mugs, a Vera Bradley bag, and hot rollers. And I spent $15. On a low end, I should get $80 just for that Vera Bradley bag alone. And I win at the end of the day. So going back to your yard sale analysis, when you said you can't be the first one, a lot of times yard sales, they end right at like 3 p.m. You're maybe driving by one at 1 o'clock and you just keep going. You're like, you already told yourself without looking that all the good stuff is gone.
Yeah.
And that I'm guilty of.
Or, at every garage sale we go to, I ask for the same items. And that has led me to be able to dig through some of these basement. It's led to a lot of opportunity. It's just, the open communication, like communication is so important, whether it's in your marriage or your business, but, you don't see it out there. It may be there. They just maybe didn't pull it out. So yesterday when I was on the phone with the guy who found me the deal, showing him the things that I had found for him. And at the same time, I get a text message from somebody else I've met in the past who has been selling me their collection off as they're comfortable selling it. They're going through it. And they hit me up and they say, hey, I've got 4 more totes. If you want it, here's the prices I'm asking. But for you, it's half price.
Nice.
I love it. And I look at, I almost sent her a message and said, my husband says I can't buy anymore. But I told him about it and he's like, yeah, you can go get those, like it's, and he knows if I want to, I'm going to anyways, but he did say the thing. So I wanted to, respectfully communicate to him like, hey, we have the opportunity to pick these up. Like, do you want to? And he's like, yeah, that's cool. He knows they're going to go, and that's the thing too. So while I was looking, while I was inspired by these other people and I wanted to do what they had done because it looked fun, when I couldn't find anything in my area, I'm looking in all y'all's areas and I'm like, hey, go get this thing. And like you mentioned, going to the bins and people not knowing what you're looking for. Well, the thing is we found one a couple weeks ago and it's still available. No other resellers picked it up in your area.
Yeah. And I've been in contact with the one that I told you I've been in contact with.
Yeah.
Her. Yeah. And so I told her, you're probably going to have it, gone by the time we can actually meet. And she's been nothing but nice because, I was ready to go over there. She had to cancel on me when the day that she gave me that I could go over there. I couldn't because I had the baby. And so yeah, and keeping that good communication is really helpful. I do want to share my screen here. Just because of the whole hot rollers, for those that maybe have never thought about selling hot rollers, I'm looking at just some completed listing. This is not the one that I currently have, but things like this you see on the shelves at Goodwill's all the time. $7 to $12 is a normal price range. So I am always looking up the hot rollers, and there can be really good money in the hot rollers. There's one called Caruso. It's like they're red, spongy. If you find those, they can sell really good. But as you see, this particular brand, there are tons of them. And these are really good prices. And I see this kind of stuff all the time. And they sell really quickly.
You should do a video with them in your hair. And
my hair is already naturally curly and it's outrageous, which is why my bed head curly hair is in a ponytail. Because look, it's just like a big fluff ball. And every time people always tell me, oh, your hair looks so good, it's because that's the days that I straighten it out and make it look like a normal person. But yes, I have the hair of a poodle that drinks out of the toilet.
I love it.
How can you take me seriously whenever you see me sip out of this mug?
I take you very seriously, Tina.
So that's pretty much all I have for today. And for those of you watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments, how far would you travel? Would you do a deal like this? Are you brave enough? Or would you have a lot of self-doubt that would stand in your way? And then also, if you're new here, we're the worst about telling you to like, subscribe, hit the bell. Nicole and I are here every other week. Next Wednesday will be our Walmart show. So for those of you that want to sell on Walmart or do sell on Walmart, I know there's not a lot of content out on YouTube for Walmart sellers. So come hang out with us there. This is definitely the most lighthearted and fun of the shows because treasure hunting and eBay and whatnot reselling is really the most fun. It's definitely the most fun creative outlet. And so if you're not selling on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, whatnot, any of those other platforms, and only Amazon or Walmart, you really should, because I just think it adds an element of freedom and fun into reselling. Amazon and Walmart are so robotic. It's all about the profit, right? And because the sales velocity is higher. But selling like this is truly the treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thrill of the hunt for sure.
Know what you want.
It causes chest pain though, perhaps. So
So with that, you guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
bye.